basically looking at a square. And then within the square, we can have anything our heart desires during this week.
But we'd kind of like you to team up with a partner, and you can have a bottle of whiskey to share a little dram in the evenings to warm the cockles of your heart, so they say. So I've chosen a selection from around here. We've got Glenfiddich, which is actually made from the water from this river down here called the Spey. What else have we got?
Straight away, you don't want to be in the most extreme environment after the longest day and then need to figure out how to use your tent. So when we bring all of this together, the decision that I make today is to stay relatively low, to keep the day relatively short, to protect ourselves from the wind, to protect ourselves from the rain and potential snow there. And then we have people that can experience the way it feels, like how's this backpack feeling, how's this walking feeling, do I change any stuff. And then
5 days, 4 nights in the Scottish wilderness. 3 Bothies, 10 Belgians, 1 Swede, and an American girl. That's me. Roughly 40 miles, a handful of Monroes, and let's not forget about the weather changing about every 5 minutes.
this thing, and then all just all the way to the end. Find out
In very far today. We've set up camp and it's still kind of early, but I'm going to let Dieter from Days on Trails explain what we're doing.
I think we're hiding. We're hiding in the woods. Well, yes we are, and we're hiding from a storm actually. So in between Scotland and Iceland there's a low pressure area pushing some very strong winds down over us from the west, and on the high ground this is causing some pretty high risk for us, exposure. This is our first day, so that would not be the best possible situation to end up in. So we've decided to hike up through the woods as high as we can get to a very sheltered spot so we can set ourselves up for a nice jump off point for tomorrow. So tomorrow morning we'll wake up fresh, we'll have slept a long night, and then we're good to start a nice and long day through some of the more exposed terrain up there. So yeah, we're just
Waiting for better weather.
Exactly, waiting for better weather.
Good morning. Last night was the first night that I tested out my new tent, and I actually brought a new sleeping bag and liner with me as well. As an initial report, it all went well. There was some concern about how my tent would stand up to the wind since it's an unconventional pitch. It pitches with trekking poles and it's non-freestanding, but there were some substantial wind gusts last night and it was perfectly fine. Right now I'm just going to have a cup of coffee, take down my tent, and we're about ready to head out of here.
For many of you guys, this was the first time you had to put up tent, sleep in tent, and then clean it up in a setting like this. How long did this take us? How long did it take you from getting up to being here now? So it's 9:25 now?
I think we got up at 7:30.
Yeah. So how many
2 hours?
Yeah. How long did I say?
Good guy.
Ja, bravo guys.
I know it sounds very obnoxious, but I hope by now you see that every single thing that I said was going to happen, always happened. So trust, because I've been here multiple times. Exactly. Now that's so and over it. Let's just switch back into mode. You have plenty of time. You have a relatively nice day. You hit thunderstorm, and I would like to involve you guys in the day because I don't like just walking in front and you guys follow. I wouldn't like that myself. You have a lot of maps. I'd like to just look at the day so you know what's going to happen. And I'd like you guys to think about the day as well. So what are the three main topics again?
Terrain, conditions, people.
Ja. Allee. En dan een keer dat we daar zijn, hebben we hopelijk nog dat echt over. En dan kunnen we zien, als er mensen zijn die zeggen, oké, voor mij is het genoeg geweest, ik ga hier chillax in de Bothie. En de anderen die zeggen van nee, ik ben nog super veel over, dan kun je zien of dat weer.
Op de kaart staan?
Corrour Bothie on the Devil's Point, daar moeten we naartoe. Hoe zouden we dat doen?
Ja, maar daarom zal geen optie hebben, is het gezegd, hè?
Daar moeten we naartoe.
Een optie, maar dat is geen goed. Allee,
We zijn nu
mogelijk een parade op de optie.
Weer op die kaart.
dan toch zo buiten te gaan of zo? Of gewoon? Nee, gewoon ja, dat kan niet.
Toen dat maar de Corrour was gewoon dat, maar mijn beet was.
I spent a good portion of the day hiking by myself, keeping pace in a way that allowed me to capture my surroundings on video how I liked to. Sometimes the group was in view, but also sometimes not. Although it was a great group of people, I was grateful for the moments of solitude and quiet in the environment, just the wilderness and the sounds of my boots hitting the trail. Something I love so much about time in the wilderness is the sense of connection that I feel to the places that surround me. I really struggled with this aspect in the group dynamic. Not a fault of anyone else except maybe largely my own insecurities and a slight issue with the language. Day 2 of the trip had been really hard on me emotionally. There were times where the isolation felt intense and I fought back tears. I questioned why I was there, and when I woke up on day 3, as I lay in my sleeping bag refusing to move, wanting to be gone and not wishing to participate in the day, I grew curious about what view lay outside my tent. I opened the door for a peek, and the beauty of the world came flooding in. Suddenly, I knew exactly why I was there.
Yes. No, it's just like a lot of wind and a lot of people didn't really sleep well because of the flapping of the fence.
Yeah, and the wind was pushing in your back all the time.
I think that was fine. I just maybe had a little too much whiskey at dinner.
Yesterday we did quite a long day with a big bag on our backs, and I'm trying to avoid doing the same thing today, just to make it more pleasant. So the plan is to spend about half a day not carrying our backpacks, and then half a day just doing the functional movement to the next place to Hwyl, which is another Bothie, which is a bigger one.
But first, we climb Devil's Point to bag our first Marmot. The calm after the storm. After spending the morning climbing Devil's Point, our first Munro, we loaded up our packs and spent the afternoon on an easygoing trail walk to the next Bothy. I don't know if it was the ease of the hiking or shift in the weather to pleasant conditions or something else, but I was finally able to relax into the environment, and it was probably my most favorite moment of the trip.
Ik ook, ik ben echt ganz warm van binnen. Van die gember, die whisky en dat eten. Steamy hot tent. You're the only one. Ik vind het like 20 months. Oh my god.
Moet dat misschien even stil ervoor. And should be an easy day. And then if you choose to go high, we have to climb about as much as we did yesterday to get to the point, only this time with your backpack. To the Devil's Point. Yeah.
And the track is less difficult, less steep?
I've never been there, so I don't know what the ground is going to be like, but there's on the map, there's only partially trails, so I suspect that it will be like rough ground. So over the hills with a backpack or through the valley. Those are the both options today.
But is it two routes to the same destination?
Yes.
Yeah. And you will have time to do it like at a
relaxed pace.
Go over the hills.
Yes, yeah, plenty of time. Yeah, plenty of time.
And can we have to side as a group or as?
No. So Hara is gonna lead the valley version. I'm gonna lead the.
On the morning of day 4, we were given a choice to make: take the high route over the Munros or trek through the valley. Aside from struggling a bit with energy on and off, I felt good and, quite frankly, had come to Scotland to do some damn hill walking. I knew the energy issue was tied to my intake of food, so I worked on choking down half a bar for breakfast and promised myself to finish it within the hour.
There's no cooler
safer or worse way to go. Just listen to your body. One guide is more good.
I chronically undereat on trail. It's never intentional, but I just get so absorbed in my surroundings that I find it easy to forget to take care of myself in that way. Looking back, I calculated that I ate under 500 calories each day starting with day 1. We were now on day 4 of a winter trek and I was depleted. I felt my body struggling for resources. I was nauseous and lightheaded. I was in trouble. Asking for help doesn't come easy for me. I wanted to prove my strength, primarily to myself. But when I conceded to let the guide carry my pack the rest of the way up the second Monroe, I felt that I had lost, but I also knew I didn't have an option. Once at the top, I was given candy and cakes and chocolate milk, essentially all of the sugary snacks that I usually avoid. And surely I started to come back to life. Although my body was responding again, my mind was in a different place. I felt like a burden to the group and was ashamed of my performance. I felt like I wasn't good enough, and again started to question what I was even doing there. Then, I was gently reminded about how far I'd come, and how it didn't matter to anyone else how I was doing in that kind of critical way. They were all just living their own experience. So I did my best to get out of my own head and just live the experience as best as I could for myself.
Hey!
Iedereen. Ja. Is dat de... Ja, wij zijn de kop. Wij zijn de vloed. En dan maakte ik ook snel de... Maar ik vind dat ook niet
This marvelous bald man helped us conquer all the mountains. We dragged Monroe's summits and near dreamy.
Now. Okay. Fountains.
Wow.
Maybe Emily needs to read this.
This is the worst dramatic reading.
Also, someone.
He had to pick one. As ik is Barry. So, Clever Dieter said, I will offer you Kelly. Kazika replied, I'll take Manu, as I'm a big eater.
In a way, breaking down like I did was a blessing. It forced me to rely on other people and thus pulled me into the group. I started to accept help when it was offered, for as much as I wanted to prove that I could do it on my own, there is greater strength in numbers, and courage in letting people in. The final day we had to make haste to get over the ridges before the gale force winds that were threatening our safety moved in. We left camp illuminated by moonlight, and I made the difficult decision to strap my tripod to my pack and focus on hiking instead of filming. On our way out, we climbed Ben McDewey, the highest point in the Cairngorms. You're just gonna have to trust me that this happened.
He asked Harry to take his phone and play some African music. Everyone started dancing, all went well until the song came to an end. But enough drama. Manu opened his mouth and ate Kazika instead. As they were safe, Ivo started working on a plan to get out of the cave. He gathered Veronique, Sarah, Jolie and Christine and told them how to behave. Take all of your Nalgene bottles in your sleeping bags to bed. Next thing they knew, they woke up nice and warm, relieved it was just a dream. $9.99, buy Nalgene. Yeah.
Well done.
Okay.